So over on the JP version of the game, they're bringing back all of the Valentine's Day units, and I saw MHX Alter going back on Raid Up, and I was like, this is a perfect opportunity for me to get to talk about MHX Alter, because frequently I say that she's one of the best, if not the best, single target quick DPS servant in the game, with really the only person that I think really gives her a run for her money is Tyra, right? Because Tyra's kit I think is a bit better, but MHX Alter is a berserker, so she smacks everybody for super effective damage. I mean, you guys can have that argument in the comments down below if y'all guys want. But regardless, they're both really, really insane. And I was like, you know, this is a perfect opportunity for me to just simp all over the place for MHX Alter, because you know your boy loves his saber faces. But before we start getting into this video, make sure you leave a like on the video and make sure you subscribe to the channel for daily FGO content. Also, I have a little bit of a more odd announcement, but if anybody plays Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, I'm actually running a $100 cash prize tournament on March 4th at about 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All you have to do to enter is go down into the Discord, which is linked down in the description down below. DM me. My name is literally ZTL in the server. And then you can just send me the deck that you want to play. There is a bit of a caveat. I made a separate video on my card shop channel going over a custom ban list that we're going to be using for that tournament. Now, if you're an FGO player, we're going to move into our regularly scheduled programming talking about MHX Alter, but if you're a Yu-Gi-Oh player and you want to have a bit of fun with an updated ban list that also has a cash prize, then make sure you go check that out. But let's start talking about MHX Alter, starting off with her hits. And MHX Alter is in a bit of a odd position, right? So she's got the double quick cards that I like, that allows her to quick chain with her NP, and she's got some pretty decent quick cards. The hits aren't actually all that great at only 3 hits, but because her NP gain stat is 1.07% and she is a quick servant, should be quick chaining everywhere, dropping stars, you're going to be critting on these and it should work out to be fine. She's got the double buster cards, and I say that's odd because yeah, they're really nice for doing damage, but I kind of almost wish she had that second arts card to make it just even more consistent to get to her own NP, especially because she doesn't have anything like a battery. But again, this is also why someone like Scotty is really insane. If you ever find yourself in a position where you're just lacking a little bit of NP, boom, drops a 50% battery in your quick servant and turns them into an absolute just consistent machine. Look, it took a lot of servants like Skahawk or like Maid Alter who are like really good single targets, but they kind of have an issue getting back to their NP. Scotty fixes all of that. So, you know, even though she doesn't have the second arts card that I would prefer for these more like looping DPS servants, it's fine because Scotty's just that crazy. Now, usually as of late, I've been also talking about the servant's passive skills, but she doesn't really have anything that crazy to talk about. I guess she does have the madness enhancement, so it's like, oh my goodness, the 2 buster cards get 6%. They're going to do so much damage. No, they're going to be buster cards. You're going to click them to do some damage, but that's really all about it. I mean, she's got the 20% debuff resistance. That can be really nice if you want to whiff like getting stunned or something, because realistically, MHX Alter is just kind of like going into the fight to obliterate the enemy before she herself gets obliterated, right? Like that's kind of the whole name of the game with her, because she's got like no survivability at all. She's like single target quick Arjuna Alter, right? It's pretty much run in, obliterate the enemy, and hope you don't take a wayward crit that just knocks your existence out of the multiverse, right? Like you don't want to have anything like that happen. But in order to make sure that she's going to obliterate her enemies, she has some very strong skills that are going to facilitate her style of gameplay. Starting off with her first skill, this is both like a good skill, but it's really, really odd in a way as well, because it's giving her increased healing rate by 50% for 3 turns, so her heals are like 1.5 times more effective. She's getting a 2k heal, and then she's getting 1000 HP every single turn for 3 turns. And then she's got some crit buffs. They're based on her card types. They're all only 30%. They're only for 1 attack, and you only get 1 per card type. It's a very odd skill because, yes, it technically gives her some survivability, but she's a berserker, right? It's kind of like a Nightingale being like, I'm going to heal myself. It's like, dog, you're going to explode. Like, you're a berserker. That's just the way that things go. Like, you're weak to pretty much everything. That's the trade-off for being strong against everything. So it's a very odd method of survivability. I'd prefer that she just gets like a dodge or something. But the crit thing is even more odd. I hope in the future they give her just like a general like 50% crit buff for 3 turns or something. Just put that somewhere on one of these skills, or even just rebuff this skill, have it slap on like an invincibility, a dodge or something, and then you can keep all the weird card-based crits, but then just give her a general like 50% crit damage buff for 3 turns. Maybe they thought that'd be too broken because really before Tyra came out, like this was probably the best single target DPS quick servant in the game, because even though, yeah, she's a little fragile, it usually wouldn't be a problem because she would just eviscerate the enemy that she was fighting. Her second skill is literally just some generic good stuff. 30% quick buff for 3 turns while also getting a 20-star bomb on a 5-turn cooldown. Just really nice. This is one of those skills that you always want to click as soon as it's available. Just having the quick buff is going to make your NP gain on all of your quick cards just refund that much better. And then they're also going to do more damage. It's a good starting skill as well because you don't really gen stars before you have your first turn. So any star bombs are really good because you get to start your first turn with some stars in rotation. Now, the only odd thing is that she is a berserker, and so her star weight is pretty much next to nothing, but I guess we'll talk about the third skill because it kind of works in conjunction with the second skill because it allows her to reduce an ally's crit star absorption rate by 100% for 1 turn, pretty much taking them out of the picture for absorbing stars, and then giving the entire party a 20% attack buff for 3 turns on a 5-turn cooldown. So these kind of work together in really neat ways, but like it drops some stars, it kicks one of your allies out of basically being able to get stars for a turn, she should be able to absorb them, then it double buffs herself with 2 nice 3-turn buffs, just nice flat 3 turns, getting a quick buff, an attack buff that multiply into each other so she can do some really decent damage. But I don't know, it's just a little bit odd because it's only for the 1 turn, but you could then just argue that it really doesn't matter that it's only for 1 turn because after like she starts getting going, she's going to be producing so many stars anyway on like Brave Chains and whatnot that it shouldn't matter, especially if you have Ruler Scotty who has like a star refunding skill. And I guess you could also say that you should probably be using Ruler Scotty anyway because she has double Buster cards and Scotty gives you a 100% Buster crit buff. So I don't know, maybe you could argue that you should be running her anyway, but I don't know, it's a little odd. I maybe just prefer that she just has the star weight for 3 turns, just give her like 9k star weight for 3 turns and call it a day. But at the end of the day, it's fine. Like all of her skills just pretty much facilitate her just absolutely trashing any and all bosses in the game. And then we look at her NP, and this is going to be interesting for NA players that are watching this video because we don't have this buff yet. We actually get this buff for her NP when Grail Live comes in a couple of months. And it takes her NP from just being like, yeah, it's a good damage nuke, that if you're happening to be fighting like any sabers, it's going to do extra damage, to then not only buffing its damage, but then if they are a good aligned enemy, they're getting absolutely roasted. And the good thing is that she's a berserker, and so anybody on this list of good servants that I'm showing, aside from, well, the foreigners probably, you don't want to bring her against them, but aside from those people, she can just absolutely trash these people. She can trivialize these guys by just dropping a nuclear missile on them with her NP. And then, God forbid you happen to be a good aligned saber, the damage chart should be floating around somewhere right now. Those dudes just get absolutely eviscerated. They're the ones that get knocked out of the multiverse, right? Like I was saying earlier, that's the people that get absolutely just decimated by MHX Alter. And the good thing is that it's not entirely too uncommon to get stuff like that. There are quite a few good alignment sabers in the game, but overall, she's a very, very strong DPS servant that, you know, if you're on the JP version of the game, you might be like, well, is she worth going for? I don't think so, considering that on JP, we have like the FGO collaboration coming up, and so you might want to save for that because the newer servants are probably going to be really, really dummy broken. So might want to hold out for that. On NA, when she does come out in a couple of months, you know, I'll probably make like an event guide or something kind of talking about it. It'll be like, oh, should you summon on this banner? Which the answer is probably going to be no, because the Lost Belt 6 stuff will be like coming out around that time. It'll either be going live or it'll be out in like a month or 2 afterwards, depending on what Lasengel actually decides to do with Lost Belt 6. But she's one of those servants that, like, if you just get her on like a GSSR or something, or you see her on the GSSR that you're going for, always a really, really solid option. And again, even though I'm saying that like in both scenarios on NA and JP, you know, NA in like a month from now when she comes out with like Grail Live, and JP where she's going to be going on raid with the other Valentine's Day servants, it's not like a great idea to go for her just considering the other servants that are coming out around here, but she's still really good. Like, she's great. Like, I've never used MHX Alter and been like, oh, this servant is just someone I really don't want to use, or man, I should have brought somebody else to this fight. It's always like, yeah, she's really good. The only things that I really think she should get is like some hardline survivability because she's a berserker and Scotty doesn't really give her any actual main survivability. So like a dodge would be nice. A more consistent crit buff would be nice, just like 50% for 3 turns or even 30% for 3 turns would be nice. And then maybe, just maybe, and this might be a little bit of cope on my part, give her like a pierce invincibility or something. That would be absolutely phenomenal. I would love to see that on like skill 2 or something, just so it's like, not only am I going to hit you with this giant nuclear missile, but you also just can't get around it. Like, you're just going to have to take this hit. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you like MHX Alter for the people that do have them? If you're playing the JP version of the game, let me know if you're going to be summoning for her. And then on NA, I guess you can let me know if you're going to summon for her when she comes out for Grail Live. So you can let me know all of that in the comments down below. But I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.